Good morning, how are you? Good morning, fine, thank you. So today I have a story to tell, okay? For a little while, I lived in Lamont, and I went to Weed Patch, and I was a manager of a preschool. And later I went to Santa Paula. Okay, I'm going to talk about this Weed Patch. Weed Patch is where a lot of people from Oklahoma came to Kern County because there were dust storms. They couldn't farm. They couldn't do hardly anything. So a lot of people from Oklahoma came to Kern County. They were from Oklahoma, and it's kind of a famous town, Weed Patch, okay? That's where the people came. And so I was going to say something. One day, I'd go on the freeway and get off the freeway, and then I'd go to work. Okay, this is my first picture. Okay, but one time there was fog everywhere. Couldn't hardly see. Okay, there was fog. And there was fog everywhere. I was driving to work, and then when I came out of the fog, look at this. There's a carrot truck right there. There was a bus pulled out in front of me, and there's a potato truck right in front of me. Then my friend, she drew this, okay? And I came out of the fog, and so I didn't know what to do. And so this little boy and the bus turned in front of me, and a little boy on the bus, he waved like that to me. See these big old trucks are out there. It was out in the fields where they get the carrots and the potatoes, things like that. So I didn't want to hit the carrot truck. I didn't want to hit the bus. I didn't want to hit the potato truck. So I turned into a field. I turned my car into a field. Oh, say, my car hit a pole, then it bounced 1, 2, 3 times, and it landed. But see it landed right there? Okay. It hit the pole, and then it went boom, 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 3 times, and then it stopped. So I called my dad, and he came, and we called a tow truck, and they put the car on top of the tow truck and took it to a mechanic shop, okay? But there's 10 different kind of tow trucks. There's all kind of tow trucks. But this is the one, and they picked up my car and put it up there and drove it away. And then I mentioned here, I called my dad, and he came. And he drove me to the preschool where I worked. I was the manager of a preschool. I think we had like 40 kids there. See, this is a preschool where I worked. Okay. And we had a slide, and we had swings, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one of the rooms. And we'd put easels out there so the kids could paint. We had a big sandbox, and we had a little table so the kids put sand in it or water in it and play with boats or whatever they wanted to. A preschool. And some of the stuff we could put away. Look, see? So I worked at a preschool. We had lots of kids, and I was the manager. And at one time, later on, there was a dust storm, a bad dust storm. So I had to call all the parents on the phone, and I looked at their emergency cards. In case something happened, I was supposed to call the parents' friends or relatives. Okay? And so I called. There's bad death storm. Actually, in 1977. Okay. Make sure your parents know in case something happened, who are they supposed to call? Your parents or your relatives, okay? Okay. So I called all the parents and the relatives on emergency cards, but I went home and I came back on Monday. On Monday, there was a lady, and she said, "Where's my son? Where's my son? I don't know where he is. What happened?" I said, "Oh, I called your emergency card, and you had a certain name, and that lady came and got your son." She said, "Oh, I thought that woman went to Mexico. I thought she was gone." She wasn't gone, but she found where her son was. Parents should always have emergency cards filled out who's supposed to pick their kids up if something happens in an emergency. But nobody got hurt. God protected everybody. And they've never had another death storm that big, that bad anymore. That was in 1977. After I left there, I was there for 6 months. I worked there. And then I went to Santa Paula. And that was up the road, over a mountain, And I worked at a preschool, and you could see the mountains if you look south. And I worked with the kids, and some of the kids, they didn't speak any English, but they learned English from me. They had a kindergarten teacher that was going to be English only. But the kids learned English really fast. When kids are 4 years old, they can really learn languages. So another picture. I could look at the mountains. It was so beautiful. So I lived in Santa Paula for a little while, a short time. And I went to church at Paul Wells Church. And he was a preacher. He traveled all over the world telling people about God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And I met his wife. Her name was Betty. And both of them moved to Bakersfield later on from Santa Paula. So I got to go to a church, and he was a famous preacher. He preached all over the world. Okay, at Santa Paula, the preschool was at the elementary school. And so we had the equipment from the school, and I worked there. And something I learned there in Santa Paula, and a person had told me this: never get mad and change your life. Never get mad. If you have anger, don't get mad and change your life. But we have to learn to control our anger. Don't get mad. Don't get mad sometimes, okay? Sometimes you can, but you have to be careful. Don't ever change your life because you're mad, okay? I put never get mad and change your life. Okay, do not change your life in anger. In anger, trust God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Okay. A little girl at church do this. Her home, her backyard. But trust God and Jesus, okay? After I left Santa Paula, I went back to college, okay? It had been 10 years since I'd been to college before. I had my AA degree in child development, but 10 years later, I went back to college. You can always go back to school, okay? Never give up. And plus, college, there's no age in college. COLLEGE. No age. Doesn't matter how old you are, okay? Okay, bye. And believe in God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, bye.